On behalf of the Clarkstown Parent Academy, I'd like to welcome you to our second session, Understanding the PTA and Why Your Involvement Matters. My name is Elizabeth Delarod, and I'm the parent of a sixth grader at Felix Vesta Middle School and a first grader at New City Elementary School, and I'll be your moderator for this session. This session is designed to give our parents a much wider lens into the PTA as an organization, from how it presently functions from elementary through high school, its intended impact on both the school communities and Clarkstown at large, and the ways in which it advocates for our parents, teachers, and students. So to kick off, we'll have our panelists briefly introduce themselves, and then we'll move right into our topics for the session.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Pepe. I am the current Link PTA president. I am also on the PTA council as vice president.
Hi, my name is Ashley Tringale. I am representing the Felix Vesta PTA as the recording secretary. I am also the chair at Lakewood Elementary School for the Holiday Boutique, and I am also on the North High School executive board as the secretary.
Hi, I'm Jen Carlson. I am representing Clarkstown South High School PTSA. I am the president there. I'm also involved at Felix Vesta Middle School PTA. I'm the co-president there, and I'm also on the board for SEPTA.
I'll go, I guess. Okay, my name is Christine Serlin. I am the president of the Clarkstown School District Pride PTSA. I'm also a member of the New York State Pride PTSA, South PTSA, Felix Vesta, and SEPTA. On the committee also for the Parent Academy within Council.
And Tiffany and Sonal.
Okay, so I am Tiffany Perciabelli. I am the PTA Council President. I am also a part of the PTSA at South High School. I'm a part of the Felix Vesta Middle School PTA. I'm also on the SEPTA as well as the Pride. I have registered for all of the units. I am also the Assistant Regional Director of the New York State PTA.
Hi, I'm Sonal Cáceres. I am I'm currently Associate Director of Central Hudson Region PTA and also immediate past president of Clarkstown Council of PTAs. My children graduated from North High School, so I was, at the time my daughter graduated, I was the president of North PTSA, and I'm very happy to be here.
Perfect. So those are our panelists for today. So we'll launch right into the questions. The questions are based on parent feedback.
Wait, what about me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
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 Can I go?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Hi, I'm Morella Arifi, and I'm representing SEPTA, the Special Education PTA for the Clarkstown School District. I also serve as Correspondence Secretary for SEPTA, for Felix Vesta PTA, and I'm the Recording Secretary for Central Hudson Region.
Perfect. Okay. Marilla, I apologize.
That's okay.
So many things on my screen here, and I'm sorry. All right. So launching into the questions, which are questions that parents typically have and things that parents want to know about the PTA. So we'll start with the elementary level and we'll move through middle and high school for each topic and item as it makes sense. So in a broad sense, how would you describe what the PTA does within the school setting at your specific grade range?
So our PTA is involved in a number of things, not just fundraising. We do a lot of cultural art programming. We do provide planners and things in the classroom, things that go home with the children. So we don't just fundraise. We do have a big part of fundraising, obviously, so we can do all these things that we need to do. But the PTA is more than just that.
At the middle school level, there's a real focus on partnership with administration. It's very different than at the elementary level. There's less in-classroom opportunities, and more seeing how we can support the school in various projects that they're taking on. So all of the fundraising that we do pours back into our students, into some of the activities that they're doing. We also give parents a voice to kind of speak into maybe some of the field trip ideas, and it's really just a focus on partnership with administration. So we're kind of a bridge between administration and parents.
I have to agree with Ashley. PTA looks a lot different at the secondary level. In elementary, I think you're in the building more, maybe for more activities, even during the school day, outside the school day. But at the secondary level, middle school and high school, we're more focused on relationship and communicating what we think needs to happen with administrators, and just really making sure that our students have a voice as well as our parents.
To speak to Jen's note about the fundraising, for a lot of people, the PTA looks like strictly a fundraising opportunity. But what else would you say that your PTA focuses on, beyond just raising money?
Are we coming back to me at elementary?
Yes, if you want to expound on that.
Yeah, so like I said, we do a lot of cultural art. We do a lot of programming for them. Every month we have an assembly that we plan and pay for, which we do have help from the BOCES to help fund it. We plan parties for each grade level. We typically, for like the holiday times, will have parties that parent volunteers come in and they get involved with. So it's not all fundraising. We do a lot of it. Like I also said before, we do purchase things for the classrooms. We buy books and cushions, and that's typically almost every year at the beginning of the year. We also buy them planners and folders that go home with the kids. That's not provided through the school. That's provided from us as PTA. So we're more involved with the children itself, more than just fundraising. We have a lot more involvement with, the parents and the students.
So how does that look different in middle and high school?
So obviously, as a nonprofit, there is fundraising that goes into PTA in order for all of the units to be able to do some of the things that they want to do. But at the middle school level, beyond that, as I mentioned, there's a real partnership between administration and parents. I'm very appreciative to the administrators at Felix Festa who always show up for the PTA meetings. And so they really give an opportunity to speak to what's going on in the building, what's coming up. It's really a place for parents to even connect with them if they attend the PTA meetings. I don't know that parents realize that that's a great opportunity for you to find out what's going on, what's coming up. I mentioned the field trips, but we were able to put together some committees that just gave ideas to the administrators about some of the things that our students might like to do. And then the administrators kind of looked into it, did some surveys. And I think that they were able to update some of the field trips that they do at the different grade levels. So beyond fundraising, it really is to give parents and students a voice and input and to feed that right back into the administration at the school.
Perfect. And at the high school level, and can you also just give us some examples of things like at the elementary level, like at the middle level, of programming that students and families directly see the benefit of, that they might not realize is driven by the PTA?
Yeah, fundraising, there's definitely a need for it because of the
Um,
programs that we run, but our goals are to collaborate with administration and the students and the other parents. So when we fundraise, our goal is to bring things back to the students. Like ultimately, we want the money to go right back into the school. So at the high school level, that looks like teacher grants that we offer throughout the school year. There's 4 that we offer every school year, and scholarships for graduating seniors. We grant 8 scholarships every year. And those are just 2 of the ways that we give back financially with everything that's fundraised.
Can I just add to that also, just so you,
I could
so
say the
the New
same
York
for
State,
elementary.
yeah. The New York State PTA also has programs that are filtered that the council brings down to all of the units, such as PARP, which is a reading program. We also do reflections. The New York State promotes that as well. And so these are all things that the schools can participate in on each grade level, K through 12. We are also the council is initiating to bring back our blood drives. Which is another great opportunity that's not fundraising but giving back. And so we're gathering chairs and organizing blood drives amongst all the schools. And with COVID, some schools had stopped, so we're trying to bring that back. We're also the PTA Council has candidate forums. So when it's election times, we interview the candidates and we post it. And so all the voters within our community can see and answer questions, and all of the units have an opportunity to email their questions, and we merge them together, and we're able to ask questions to the candidates that the parents want to know and the parents' input. So we're advocating for children programs. So it's not just fundraising. Of course, it's part of it, but I think a lot of the elementary schools are trying to do fundraising that involves the kids, like our pasta nights, right? So the kids are involved in, and they're learning how to work together and with parent supervision, put on fundraisers. So we are getting money, we're earning money, but the students are participating, and they're trying to create more of these opportunities for the community. So, I think it's more of a community. The PTA trying to bring all of these programs together. Obviously, at the upper grades in the secondary school, some of these programs are more difficult as you get older, but they're still there. And I think it's a great opportunity for the families to get involved that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about membership and sort of involvement, volunteering, and those sorts of things, because I think, that hits at what many parents, especially at the lower level, really want to know about the PTA and want to understand. So at a really basic level, who can join the PTA? Who, in the community is eligible to join the PTA?
So for elementary level, I know we've had grandparents, we've had students, we've had mothers, fathers, down to community wise, like if you have a child in the school, or if you're a grandparent and you want to be involved with your grandchild, we've never really turned anybody down. We haven't had many of them, but there has been 1 or 2. Teachers obviously are asked to also join the PTA. We'd like them to be a little bit involved in, what it goes on with the PTA. So really, it's based on our community. So we would like, as many parents to be involved. We also have had lots of past students become PTA members, which I think is really great. And it's not just those that apply for scholarships, because I know in elementary levels, like we do give out 4 scholarships every year at our Founders Day reception. So that's another thing that we do that gives back to the community. We do have a Founders Day. And so and that's really great. And a lot of these students, they want to know what's going on in the community, and it's really great. So for elementary wise, like I said, parents, students, grandparents if they need to be, if they're a caregiver, but.
Yeah, my answer would be very similar. The only thing that I would add is I know sometimes we've had even local businesses will become PTA members. One of the things that I always encourage is like I actually joined North's PTSA when my son was an eighth grader because I wanted to kind of see what was going on and get ahead of the game a little bit. So I think if you have a fifth grader, it might be wise to join the middle school PTA earlier than later and just kind of see what's going on and hear the different things that are going on. And so really anybody could join the PTA.
Just for pride, we have students, parents, staff, administrators, but we also do have a lot of community members who have also joined, who are partners with other organizations, and they've joined us to support our mission. So I think that's the other piece of it. With the PTA, every membership is also providing money to the unit to function. So your membership goes a long way in also reducing some of that fundraising in the long run too, which I don't know if parents always realize that money is used right back to the students and the programming and stuff like that. For many units, that's their main fundraiser. I know for Pride, that's our main fundraising during the year. We're not a fundraising unit. That's not really what we're about. So our members really fund us every year. With regards to, how we get our money and how we function.
At the high school level, the simple answer is everyone. But we really urge all the teachers, the parents, but also the students. At the high school level, we really, really want the students to be involved and to advocate for themselves. So we urge them to join, and part of the rules for applying for a scholarship is you have to be a member of the PTSA at South for both your junior and senior year. So we really try hard to get the message out there. I know we do miss a good handful, but yeah, so everyone.
And for SEPTA, what does the membership look like?
Well, as far as fundraising, we really don't fundraise that much. But on we have like a smaller focus scale. Our fundraising helps support parents, workshops, resources, and special education related initiatives that benefit families across the district. We offer scholarships for teachers and students. We just try to connect and support the broader school community by providing district-wide support to parents and families and basically anyone. You don't necessarily have to have a special needs child. It's just kind of helping you navigate the system, giving you support, letting you know who to contact as far as the district goes. Maybe you do have questions about IEPs, 504s, how to evaluate what services you would receive. We would be there to assist because many of us are special needs parents.
All right. So in trying to drum up membership and, that being sort of the driver of how much you can or able to do in a given year, when you're pitching, parents and why they should want to be involved, what was it that you would tell your parents about why they should consider joining and renewing? And then, to sort of tack on to that, how is it that we can express to these parents that they can be involved even if they're very busy and they work and they have children going in all different directions and they're at different schools? How can they join and contribute even if they don't have lots of time to volunteer?
So going to elementary level, I feel that we encourage everybody to join, because if you don't, you kind of are not in the loop of things, unfortunately. So if you are a PTA member, you get our weekly blast, which is all information that's current events for the PTA and things in the school. So that is one thing that we do kind of keep to our PTA paid members. We also encourage them to become PTA members, because if they don't, they're not a PTA member, they can't volunteer to help with an event or to come into the building for a PTA event. Like if we're having those parties and a parent wants to come in, they have to be a PTA member. And that's really not even a rule that's coming from like our school. That's like, like a New York State rule, like you have to be a paid member to be involved in a PTA event. So at the end of the day, like it's not hard to put an idea out there. So like you become a PTA member, you become a paid member. And then you could, if you can't attend something, you could always throw out ideas or things that, you think that the kids would really like. And like, we're always open to suggestions or ideas, like, so you don't always have to always have your hand in, but you could show interest in helping in any way, even if it is just ideas or, collaborating with people to come up with ideas for an event, even if you can't help run the event.
I would just say, just from what I've seen as my kids have grown up, I think oftentimes there's a lot of involvement at the elementary level because of the opportunity to be in the classroom and go to class parties and be with your kids, and your kids are little and you don't want to miss that time. And then our kids grow and they become middle schoolers. And I think sometimes it feels like, oh, well, this is my chance to take a break and I won't get involved as much at the middle school or even the high school level. But I actually think that our involvement as parents should increase the older our children get. I think even though they're starting to pull away and grow up in the way that they're supposed to, I think that it's important for us to stay involved in their school community and show up where they are in the ways that we can and be involved. And so I just see a lot of parents kind of go, oh, they're in middle school, or oh, they're in high school now, and so I don't need to do that PTA thing anymore. But I actually think there's a really good opportunity for us to stay connected to our kids by getting involved as they get older. And I think in terms of involvement, it's as much or as little as you want it to be. I think all of us on this screen mentioned multiple ways that we're involved. That doesn't mean that we're all doing everything at every level. It means that we're doing the part that we can do at each level. And so that's why even for me at the elementary level right now, I'm the chair for one event, and that's pretty much the capacity that I have because of everything else on my plate. And I think that that's true at the middle school level as well. You can do as much or as little as you want. And so I wouldn't look at it as an overwhelming thing. Oh, I have to be on the PTA and I have to do everything and I have to show up for everything. I think it's as much or as little as you want it to be. But I do think that it's important to continue advocating for our kids and continue to show up, even when they maybe say they don't want you to for different things. Because I actually think that they do secretly want you around. And so showing up, being a present, being an advocate, it increases as they get older. It doesn't get less.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ashley. So many people want to step off when their kid gets to secondary levels, because they don't think the PTA is important at that level. But I completely disagree. It looks so different. There's not all the events. It just looks different, but that makes it a little bit easier. You're not being pulled into so many different directions at the secondary level, and it gives you a chance to just plug in and for example, going to a PTA meeting becomes a lot easier. I know half of our meetings, at least at South, are on Zoom. So you can log in when you're waiting in the parking lot for a kid or driving someone somewhere. It makes it a little bit easier. And even if you're just listening, you're learning about things that you might not have an opportunity to hear about for months down the line. So I think it's easier, and to just log into a Zoom and you can know a little bit more what's going on in your kid's school.
I also think that just by being a member of the PTA of any unit, you're doing your part as volunteering, right? Just by being a member. If that's all you can do is just be a member, That's amazing. Then just be a member. You will end up getting the emails. You will able to see the minutes from the PTA meetings that you can't make, and you will know what's going on. And at the PTA council meetings, there's representatives from each unit that comes to the meetings, and we discuss what's going on in New York State PTA, what's going on in the region PTA, and they bring it back to their unit meetings, right? And so now, if you read the minutes, you should see in the minutes what's going on in New York State PTA, in the region PTA, amongst other schools, amongst other communities, what's going on. So by just being a member of the PTA, you're doing your part by joining and knowing what's going on. And there might be a time where you can say, I can volunteer and do this little nugget of time. And you wouldn't know if you didn't join the PTA to know what's going on, because the only people who get the PTA emails are the PTA members. So just to be informed, you're already doing something.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think just listening and being involved and being aware and in the loop helps a ton, because you don't know if there are opportunities where you might be able to volunteer an idea or a helping hand, or I have a connection with somebody that might be able to help with this if you're not there. And so I do think in that way it's just helpful. Yeah.
I also think that people don't realize that even the smallest task sometimes could be the hugest help. Like, at the elementary level, like stuffing the mailboxes of flyers, and counting them out, or labeling something because it has to go out to the kids, or, like those little things that maybe take an hour can be such a help to the people that are running the PTA, so I would say to parents, like, never feel ashamed if you feel like you don't have the time, right, to plan an event or supervise an event or anything like that. But if you had like a half an hour and you knew, like, I can run into the school real quick and count out and, stuff the mailboxes, or, you know what, I do have this connection. Let me get you in contact with that person, or I can make that phone call for you. That can go a long way too, of just being like a really vital member of your PTA. And I think sometimes we forget that those small tasks are just as important as the big tasks, because they add up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so the best way to get involved with SEPTA, I would say, is to start small, maybe via membership or by joining a meeting, attending a workshop, or it's just a way to connect with other parents if you're new and you just kind of want to figure out how to navigate this new world. You can also stay involved by just advocating for your child. I feel like therapies are constantly changing. Laws are always changing in special education, so you want to know what's going on. And it's also a good way to help the special needs community. These are kids rather, that your kids are friends with, that are going to be going to the same junior high schools. So why not support them? These are your neighbors. And if you can't attend, least you could do is help out by fundraising with us or sharing some of our posts on Instagram, Facebook. This way that lets other families know what's going on. And that just means so much, just letting the word out.
Yeah. So I think to just sort of round this part out, what are some common misconceptions that you feel like are out there about being sort of a PTA parent? I think that it's something that, there's this stereotypical idea of the people who are on the PTA who, who participate, and, what could you say to sort of dispel some of that?
Everyone on the PTA, this is truly how I feel, has all the kids' best interest at heart. They're there to help the kids and advocate for the kids and make sure the kids all get what they should get, and so on and so forth. And I think, there are some people that are like, I'll never get involved in the PTA. It's catty, it's this or that. It's really not. If you're there, everyone's there for the same reason, truthfully. And they want to just see the best for all the kids in the school, in the community. So I just think that you got to try it and stop listening to what you hear and put your foot in the water a little bit and just see. I mean, no one's saying you have to be fully involved, but trying it out for yourself instead of listening to what you hear. I was one of those parents. I really didn't want to get involved, and then I got involved, and I haven't been out of it since. So it's something that you probably, once you get involved in it, and I'm not saying just as a paid member, but like on the board, I feel that you really are all in, and you're all about the kids. So I really feel that people really need to see it for themselves and stop listening to what is being said about the PTA.
Do you find that there's the same perception of the sort of leadership group or the people who are commonly, at events at the middle and high school level?
I mean, we've all seen the movies and how Hollywood portrays what a PTA is as some kind of social club with a hierarchy. I've served at the PTA level at all three elementary, middle, and high school. I have yet to find that to be the case. Do you meet some strong personalities? Sure. But you also meet some very lovely people, and you get to meet other people in the community in a way that you wouldn't any other way. And I think even the strong personalities is because there's a passion about advocating for our children. And so I think I agree, once you realize that you're all there for the same reason, you can kind of get on page. And even though I've seen people encounter strong personalities, I still see those same parents showing up because they still want to be involved. And so, I mean, that's community, that's humanity, right? There's all different personalities, there's all different ways that people lead, there's all different opinions. I think it makes you a better human to be a part of a group where not everybody is like you, and you're all advocating for your children for the right reason. So I would say dispel what you see on the Hollywood movie screen. It's really not like that. It's really a great opportunity to just meet people and be more involved in your community and to put roots down in where you live. So I really do think it's important.
I think that's one of the biggest myths, is that it's a clique or it's only a certain group of people. But I was very involved at the elementary level while my kids were there. And I have to say, I've met some of my closest friends jumping in and just doing stuff, running events or coming up with new ideas. We're still friends. We're still PTAing. We made it a verb all through middle school and now at the high school. But like everyone else is saying, you don't know unless you jump in and meet these people and have a conversation, because the strong personalities, they're the ones that are just doing it all and are probably feeling a little overwhelmed. So offer to help them, get to know them. They're probably not bad people. They're just overwhelmed.
Yes, I agree. I think it makes a big difference when new faces come, and it alleviates a little bit of the pressure from, sort of the usual crowd. And yeah, I do think there's a lot of benefit in that.
I also think that, a lot of people see the same faces doing the same things all the time. And it's not the case that they want to be doing everything. It's that they want the kids to have these experiences. So if they don't pick up the ball and run with it, then nobody will. And a lot of times, when you're running something and you have people underneath you who don't want to be seen and who don't want to be known. So where it might be the same faces that you are seeing, they're the ones that are just organizing it, but there's mountains of people under that it takes to run an event. So it's not that this one person might look controlling or want to run it their own way. It's that nobody else has stepped up. And if you went to them and say, I will share that, I don't think anyone would say, oh no. Please share that, take that on and make it your own, because new ideas are great and changing things up is great. it's what evolves us. And I think another misconception is that we're all about fundraising. And I tell people so many times, we are not about fundraising. We're about advocating for children, giving children experiences, forming a committee, a community amongst parents and students and faculty. So it's not PTA's fundraising, because that's not what we're about. We're not about that. We are about advocating for children. Is there fundraising? Of course. But that's not our main focus. And I think there's a major misconception is that it's all about fundraising. And I think any PTA would welcome any ideas that parents had that didn't involve fundraising. They would, other community opportunities. I think any PTA would welcome that.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so let's move on and talk a little bit about advocacy and how the PTA, impacts the community. So Tiffany, I'm going to direct this one to you to start with. How would you say that the PTA advocates for students and families and schools, both sort of at the school level and also beyond in the community?
So a lot of what the council does is, so we have delegates from schools, and they come into our PTA meetings, and the units share with them their concerns amongst their schools. Major one was equity amongst all the elementary school, and the PTA council worked really hard to have equity amongst all the elementary schools. And so it's a lot of feedback from the parents. So, you'll write to your delegate of your unit, and then you'll bring it back to the PTA council. And it goes to Dr. Biaco, or it goes to whatever administrator the question might need, right? And so we are able to get equity amongst all the elementary schools, to any questions or concerns that you might have in terms of specific educational programs, in terms of the math and the ELA. Dr. Biaco comes in every month to our meetings. He gives us a little recap, or I will email him and say the parents are really interested in learning about this particular program. And so we really bring the feedback from the community to the administration and Dr. Biaco, and he brings it back and he helps us navigate it and get the answers. And we also do a lot of advocacy at the regional level. The council, brings back information from the region when we have our region meetings in our New York State PTA. And so what's going on, globally, and what's going on within the New York State PTAs. And we bring that information back to our communities and our smaller on our units. So, I feel that the council is there to help answer the questions amongst our units. And bring it to the attention of the district if something they feel is, they need more clarification on. And the district works very well with the council in that aspect. And we get that directly from our unit delegates, which comes from all of the members of the specific units. I don't think I'm missing anything, Sonal, am I?
No, I think this has been really wonderful, everyone's opinions and everything. And I think you have touched on everything. And just to remind everyone that we also, we advocate for everyone. We help Pride, we help SEPTA, we help elementary level, we help secondary level. Wherever any help is needed, we're there. And actually at the Central Hudson region level, we have conferences to help support you, help the new boards get to know how PTAs work. So we have that. And of course, like Tiffany mentioned, at the council level, a lot is happening. We're there to support every student, every family member, whoever needs anything. We are PTA or PTSA. We're here to support even the staff. That's why we do breakfasts or whatever we can to help them, to feel them appreciated in whatever way we can, to include every single stakeholder that we have. So we try to do that, not just fundraising, a lot more than that. Yes, fundraising becomes a part of it only to be able to support those events, but not as a main thing. Our main goal is to advocate and support, which is what we try to do.
Perfect. So for the units, could you give us a quick example of how your particular PTA has worked with the school or the district to address like a need or concern within your specific school community, and your thoughts on, what role the PTA plays in building community and sort of strengthening the connection between, home and school, and what that impact is like?
So I think at the elementary level, I think that we're still not really sure, and I'm not saying me, I'm saying like the parents aren't really sure where to go with their questions and concerns. So like at PTA meetings, we have to remind them that if they do have a concern or a question, that we're here to help and that we could then take those questions to council. I feel like there is kind of like that gap still. I don't think they all fully understand the roles of like PTA council. I think there's even some that don't know that there are higher up PTAs, within the district and region and state. So I'd say for us, it's mostly probably the PTA board that would see an issue and that would try to get to the bottom of it, whether they go to council or they go straight to the admin that it is, associated with. But for the elementary level, I think, like I said, I think we try our best, but I don't think that all the parents are fully aware of what council is and what council does. And even us as a PTA board, what we can do for them. I think, again, it's the misconception of we're just there to fundraise for the elementary level, at least.
So I would just say, like, just a simple example would be, at Festa this year, I guess there was a new agenda that was given out to the students, and it looked different. It was a different cover, and some of the parents had feedback on that. And so at a PTA meeting, it was brought up to administration, and administration simply said, "We had no idea because nobody told us." And so being able to advocate even for those simple things just gives parents a voice to speak into those things. Another thing that we're encouraged to do as PTA members is there's a lot of chit chat on social media. And so administration at Festa says, if you see something, just help redirect, because oftentimes people complain without knowing that there's actually a place that you can take your questions and your concerns to. So I would say on a very simplistic level, what that looks like is really just kind of pushing back, hey, let's not just throw out problems without going to find a solution, but let's try to bring this back into the channels where you can find a solution. So those are very simple issues that might be faced, but without PTA or PTA meeting, it would just be chit chat. It would just be, oh, did you see they changed the agendas that they get? And now the administration knows to address it and knows that it was an issue, but without that opportunity, it would have just been something people were complaining and whining about. So on a very simplistic level, I would say those are kind of some of the ways that we get to advocate.
I have an awesome example on how this worked out really well just a couple weeks ago at the high school level. We had a PTA meeting and we went into it thinking it was going to be just a regular PTA meeting, go through our list and head home. And every meeting, the principal she has time to share whatever she wants to share. Well, luckily she went first because we spent the next 2 hours just having an amazing, honest discussion about this possibility for new scheduling. Now, our kids were coming home telling us about it. They were up in arms. You have to fight this. Like, this can't happen. By the end of the meeting, I don't know how Tiffany, you're there. I felt like confident about this new schedule change. I thought it was something that could benefit our kids. And without this opportunity to sit around, we had a roundtable discussion where the principal laid out her plans. and us as parents, and there were students there as well, could express their concerns, ask questions. And it was really, honestly, probably one of the best PTA meetings I've gone to in 20 years, because I felt like we walked away learning something and we were able to get on the same page. Yeah, so.
And just to add on to that, the best part about that was that I was at that meeting. It was a fantastic meeting. I then went to Dr. Bayako and I said, at our next PTA council meeting, can you address the new block scheduling, the new scheduling you're attempting to do in the high schools? Because I think it's important information that everybody knows at the same time. So he came and gave a very thorough presentation to the delegates and the presidents at the next PTA council meeting. So everybody has all the information and we're not getting bits and pieces. And there were questions that were asked and there were concerns brought up. And he was very open and honest and thorough. And so that was another way that it just worked. It comes all full circle that we're all working together. So something brought out of a PTA meeting was brought to the council level. So now everybody can have a full understanding of what's happening. And that's the best example to give. You know, your delegates are so important to give feedback to the council so we can address these issues and advocate for all the students. And then everybody in the district will get all the same information from this PTA council meeting, if that makes sense. So it actually worked out very well. It was a very informative meeting. And then he gave a wonderful description of what it was. And hopefully all the units and the delegates brought it back to their units.
I was just going to say for Pride, I mean, our main function is advocacy. I mean, that's kind of where we were born from. Our mission is to advocate and support our LGBTQ plus community. So that is our main focus. And when I think about the advocacy work that we actually do as a unit, although we might have that inclusivity lens on doing the work, it really ultimately does benefit all the students within the district, because we're coming from a place of having an environment where all of our kids are treated with respect and dignity for who they are. And so we as a unit have really been focusing a lot on DASA and what the Dignity for All Student Act is and what the roles and responsibilities are at a district level, and also what parents can do if their child feels, or if they feel their child's being harassed or bullied in school, and what are those procedures and those standards. I mean, we've had speakers come to talk about it. We've had conversations with Dr. Bayako and the school board about training for our staff and how are they trained and what are they trained in specifically, and how often do they do these trainings, and that is something that affects all parents and all students. And it's amazing how many parents actually really don't even know about DASA and what that process is, and who do they go to when there's an issue within the school, and what are the rules, that guide that work. So that's been a big part of what the Pride PTSA has been doing. I mean, but we have also been, as a unit, in conversations with other community partners and organizations, our legislators, our school board members, even state governmental offices, of just, what are the rights of our students, and what are the responsibilities of a school district when it comes to protecting the dignity of our students. So that's like a big piece, obviously, for our unit. We're not, like I said before, we're not a fundraising unit. We don't have a particular school. We're district wide. So advocacy is where we focus a lot of our time and energy.
Can I talk about SEPTA?
Yes.
Okay. So for SEPTA, the way we build community is by bringing together families, teachers, and staff through meetings and resources. But we also work with our local PTAs across elementary, middle, and high school, just to make sure that students are included in all types of activities and events. Unfortunately, sometimes some of the, let's say, physically disabled children can't attend some dances, so we can have sensory rooms or stationed for them. So we just try to like brainstorm and maybe give the other PTAs ideas just so that everybody feels welcomed. We also tried to meet with the district, with the special education committee to discuss ways to improve services, support both the teachers and the student. It's always evolving. Things are always changing. But at the same time, we also want our parents to be involved. And we try to offer them guidance and just kind of create a supportive network and open communication between both the parents, the teachers, students, and with our district.
I think that's such a tremendous resource in the district. I think being able to go
Absolutely.
across all the schools and have the common thread of singular contacts that, can help make an impact everywhere is huge. And I think that's
Absolutely.
really it's a really wonderful feature of the PTA, how much advocacy that there is. And I don't think so many parents even realize that that's necessarily the case. They see crafty things come home, without realizing that the true impact of PTA is that advocacy for kids. So I think that's hugely important. So let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, which is finances and transparency. So for the units, where does the money that you raise go, and who makes the funding decisions within your particular unit?
Okay, so for elementary, or for at least my unit, money is spent and decisions are made through the PTA board. All the money truly is given back to the children in one way, shape, or form. We do donate something to the school every year. Last year we did the stairs, and we've done like the marquee sign outside. So financially, every penny is given, whether it's, we do a lot of fifth grade events. But all the grade levels get as much as we can. But like I said, all our money is given back to the children, staff, whether it's books or, whatever we end up giving and donating to the classrooms. But all the money is given back to the kids.
And it's allocated by the board.
Yes. The board and the principal. The principal, sometimes will come to us and say, hey, we need a new blah, blah. And, we do our best to provide what they need.
So yeah, I mean, it's a nonprofit, as I mentioned, so that means nobody is making money. There's no PTA, PTSA crews. No one's like rolling in it. All of the money goes back to the school. And it goes back to supporting our students and appreciating our staff and administrators. In terms of budget, it's determined by the executive board and then voted on by membership. It's a standard nonprofit practice. So there's transparency in how money gets spent, where those dollars go, and it all goes back into funding the programs and the resources and the things for the students. So no one's making a dollar, no one's getting paid. It is all volunteer, and there's transparency because there's membership that votes on things.
Yeah, so every member has a say in how the money is spent. The budget is presented to the entire membership every beginning of the school year. And if you look at the budget, it lays out everything. It lays out our goals in fundraising and then exactly where the money's going. Every single dollar is accounted for. And every PTA meeting, there's a treasurer's report, and that will explain the ins and outs for that month or the prior month. And really, I mean, if you ever have a question, you can ask because everything is so carefully recorded. Yeah.
Right. So at the middle and high level, Ashley and Jen, can you give us like an example? Like she was saying at length, like every year we buy something. right? Is there an example of something, well, even if it's not a thing, right? Like an example of something that you have spent money on that is really noticeable or has a real visible impact on the school community?
So at the high school, we offer teacher grants. We just upped it to 4 this year. Last year, one of the math teachers put in a grant. She wanted a class set of calculators. We wrote her a check. She got the calculators, and she said it made a huge difference in her class. The other, we host a teacher appreciation luncheon every year. Every teacher gets a box lunch from Luigi O'Grady's, and we just kind of make them feel special for the day because they are such an important part of our kids' lives. So those are just 2 of the examples. I mentioned scholarships before, so any prior, students that are graduating have the chance to apply for a scholarship.
Can I just go back to the elementary for 1 second? We do all the same with the budget, and our treasurer is very transparent, and she will even pull up our budget throughout the year if need be. Like if things have changed or if we've made more money, where that money is going. So that is like a typical standard throughout all the PTAs. It's actually like you have to provide your budget to all paid members. And I think most units do some kind of teacher appreciation.
And just to add that every PTA unit meeting, a budget is handed out. It's provided for everybody. It also should be on websites as well. And if you request a copy of the budget, you can see the budget. It's voted on by every member at the beginning of every school year or the end of the following year. And I know that the treasurers work closely with the board to create the budget. So it's very transparent. I've seen a lot of the school and the unit budgets as to where all the money is going and how it is allocated.
So Christina, I know you mentioned that Pride is not necessarily like a fundraising unit, but even in just speaking to, how the impact of the things that that you guys do in the community, if there's anything you want to highlight in that way, same for SEPTA.
Just with regards to the unit itself, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, even though it's not fundraising is not your main goal, if there's anything you want to.
So I think for us,
highlight.
we are really new. I mean, we just chartered in 2023. So we're going into our 3rd year. So still finding our feet a little bit and growing, as to where we want to focus things like fundraising and things like that. Again, we're not something that we really do, but we do support our GSTAs at the high school. So if there's something that they need and or want, we're right there to give them whatever they might need. But when we look at the broader picture of how do we work within the district, being a district-wide unit for Pride, it has been challenging. It has been challenging. It hasn't been the easiest within our community, as we all know. There's been a lot of tension and things like that. But I think what we've learned through the past 3 years is that there's a need. We go to the back to school nights, the district sponsored back to school nights, and without fail, we have parents come up to us and say, "Thank you. We need this," or "Me and my partner have been looking for a community within our district, and this is great to know." And so, I think our goal is really just to be seen within, and to make people realize that there are families across our district from K through 12 that are part of the LGBTQ plus community. There are children from K through 12 that are part of the community, and that being recognized and included is important. I mean, we all as parents want our kids to feel respected and, you know, and for our families to feel respected where our children spend so much of their time, right? We want to know that the people around them respect them, that our families are respected and things like that. And I think that's kind of where we come into play, you know. Our goal really when it comes to community stuff and being out there has been to remind why Clarkstown, like why did we bring our kids up in Clarkstown, you know? And I'm a person that graduated from Clarkstown. I've lived here my entire life. I brought my kids back and they're in the schools and you know, I think we're all proud to be part of Clarkstown. And, you know, we as a unit tried to figure out like what can we do to kind of remind people of like the good, right, in Clarkstown. And we do a jam session. We started it last year and we're going to do our second annual this year. And it's just a night to bring community together. And it's a concert and it's parents and students and staff and they all perform together. And I mean, it's an amazing night. And last year people walked out of there and was like, this is what Clarkstown should be. Like, this is what it is. Like, I'm happy that this is what we have here, you know? And I think for us, that's really been our goal for the past 2 years. And that's what we've been trying to work on is just, you know, building those partnerships with the other units and the other schools and yeah, and just being visible, you know, I think is just so key for us. And like I said, you know, I really firmly believe that the work that we do, our advocacy work and everything that we stand for, yes, we see it with the LGBTQ plus lens, but it benefits all our students, right? What parent does not want their student to be respected and treated, you know, with dignity every day they walk into a school building? I would think almost every parent, you know, and that's what we strive for. So I think that's the piece that we have within the broader community.
Yeah, I agree. I think just advocacy across the board for all is the goal. So I think that's hugely important. So Marilla, same for SEPTA. When you look into like, you know, how you connect and support the broader school community. I mean, I know we touched on that a bit before, but if there's anything else that you want to highlight about what your unit specifically does, I think that's helpful.
Sure. So SEPTA is a not-for-profit run entirely by volunteers. We are all special needs parents who have kids in the district. And some of us have kids who've graduated and they still participate and still volunteer and still show up. We usually have up to 2 fundraisers a year. Bingo night is always a hit. And we also try to reach out to local businesses and the community just for help with that. They usually donate items and we auction that off. And we fund scholarships for our students and our teachers. And that goes directly to them. Beyond fundraising for those maybe 2 events a year, our main focus is just supporting families and advocating for our students and our teachers. Yeah.
That's wonderful. All right, so if parents want to get in touch with the PTA units, if they have a question, a concern, want to get involved, what's the best first sort of line for them?
Email the presidents, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
They can reach out to their schools. Any school principal or secretary will have any an email to a president of their unit. And even if they would like to get in touch with Pride or SEPTA and they don't have an email your unit president and they can get you Pride and SEPTA as well. Also follow each unit on Facebook, and you can contact the presidents there, or the units or somebody on the board, to email them and join the PTA.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. This is like, you know, what's the best way for families to stay informed about PTA events and opportunities? Like our PTA just got an Instagram page at NC. And now I see so much more than I would see otherwise because I don't really check Facebook so much. And I think that's super helpful. But if there's, other suggestions in terms of like, where do you find all these things? I think that's helpful for people to hear too.
Well, I'm just going to touch base on with the Parent Academy. I mean, part of what this all is because it came about because, I know listening at PTA meetings of realizing like we don't always know what we don't know, and we also don't always know where to find the information we need, right? So, the Parent Academy page, the web page, is starting to put up like resources. So even after every one of these sessions, resources are going to be added that are going to be relevant. So like last time we had like the administrators from CCSD. Well, now you can find all their email addresses there and all like their relevant information on the Parent Academy webpage. After this session, we'll have, email addresses for the PTAs. And I'm also hoping that we'll maybe put up the like how to join for each page too. You know what I mean? So like there's ways, but the Parent Academy, this whole program is one of those ways to kind of help our parents stay informed also, and not just PTA stuff, but district stuff within Clarkstown.
Yeah, and it's featured right on the homepage, which is really nice. It's right there. There's like 5 tabs, and one of them is Parent Academy. So hopefully people will find that resource and make use of it because there's a wealth of information that's going to be there for that as well. So, I think this has been an excellent session. In closing, what do you wish more parents understood about the PTA? And what does the PTA mean to you?
So the PTA means every child, one voice. We are here for every child. And that's what our motto is, that we are for every child.
Yeah, I agree with Sanal. I think it's that we're all here for one reason, and it's for the children.
And if we all work together, we're all making such wonderful memories during our child's education and those years, and we're getting our questions answered, and we're here for the main goal is these kids, right? In this, they needed consistency, they need parents working together, and we're here for everybody. We're not, a lot of people think, PTA, they're only out for their own kids, but if you're talking to any one of these people who are volunteering their time, they're not about their kids. They're about everybody's kids. It's a big, misconception. We want what's best for everybody on a whole.
Ditto.
That's the message we want to convey for any parent or any family member who wants to get involved or is seeking help.
Hi. Sorry, I never know how to use this. Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Floor is yours.
I would say for me, the PTA as a parent, obviously, it means being part of a network that helps parents feel informed, included, and supported, especially as a mom with a special needs kid. I also have 2 older kids who are in middle and high school, and they're not in special needs, but it's also important to be in their school's PTA to know what's going on so that they feel that they're part of their school community, so that I'm also in the know of what's going on there. It just works for everyone when we're all involved and we can show up for our kids. It's really about being there for our children.
When you're at meetings and you're meeting people and you're talking to other family moms and dads, you're realizing you're not alone. Like some of the feelings that you're feeling, everybody else is feeling. So if your kid's struggling in something, there's other people there. So when you're joining these committees, you're making a community for yourself and your family. So I just feel like it's just really important. Sorry, did I mess up? It's just really important to know that you're not alone, and there's family. You're creating a family, and you're helping each other. You know, I'm not from around here. I didn't grow up here, and I've met a lot of people and learned a lot of things. So just getting involved is so important to your children's education.
Agreed. Community means everything. It is a make or break. You know, I didn't grow up here either, and I haven't lived here for that long. And I think it is the key part to feeling successful wherever you are, and feeling like you can lean into your community and find some fellowship there with your people. And I think the PTA is a huge connector when it comes to that. So, you know, we here at the Parent Academy are so appreciative of your time and your thoughts here tonight. And we really look forward to sending this out to everybody. So on behalf of the Parent Academy and all of the shareholders of the Clarkstown School District, you guys have been a tremendous resource, and we are beyond thankful for your time here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, guys. We look forward to the next session.
Yeah. Have a good night.